Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned.
All right, man. I got some stuff I want to chat about off the top for the podcast.
Yeah, I have a question first.
Like off the air question?
No. This is a part of the show.
Oh, sweet, great. Let's go.
I want to know because I'm concerned that I may have a problem.
Okay.
I want to know how many movies in a week is too many to watch.
Okay. Well, I think last time we recorded, or a couple of times before this, you mentioned that you took a week off of work or something like that, or a couple of days or whatever, and you watched like 4 or 5 you rattled off, and I was like, oh, dang, you just kept rattling them off too. And I was like, whew, he's burning through movies like crazy. But I don't know how much time are we talking? Space between.
So since we talked last.
Okay, like in a week off of work, are you talking like that long?
Yeah, so I'm talking 7 days, 7 calendar days. Now this past week was spring break for my kids. So I took 3 days off, Wednesday through Friday, expecting to do something with my kids, but turns out when you're 16, you're like, I just want to hang with my friends, Dad.
There you go.
So I thought, well, shoot, I'll just have some time for Dad. So I watched movies and I did other stuff, but there's some things you can kind of watch on the side, right?
Got it. Yeah.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
So my number in a given week, my number's probably that it's probably too much. I think if you watched, man, this is difficult because there's a part of me that wants to go, if you watched a movie a day, I wouldn't think that would be bad. So that would be 7 movies total in the week. It doesn't need to be 1 a day.
Right.
But, oh man.
I'm not going to make you guess.
Okay, just go ahead and say it.
15.
Dang. I had that one loaded. I had that dang loaded in the gun, dude.
One of them I did skip through a bit.
So half watched. So 6.5.
Yeah.
Or 13 and a half.
14 and a half.
What's my math? I don't know.
So I watched some that I really liked. Let me just name them off, and then some of these are going to show up on a future episode of me having you watch it. But
okay.
The Innocents. I don't see if you've watched it. I haven't checked if you've watched it. The Innocents. Have you seen that one?
I don't know. I don't think
a Norwegian film.
Nope.
Nocebo.
No.
Like placebo, but nocebo? Okay.
Okay.
Fingernails.
Steve, I think you're just saying words at this point. I don't think that these are movies. I think that you're just... Maybe, are you trying to communicate to me in another way? Blink twice if you're... I don't know what's happening. Are you being held hostage?
The Dead Center.
Okay.
Jeepers Creepers, which we're going to discuss in a bit.
Yeah.
Sinister.
Okay, I've heard of Sinister.
Okay, Dune Part 2.
Not Fingernails. I've not heard of the horror movie called Fingernails.
So Fingernails is not a horror movie.
Okay.
It's a weird movie. I wouldn't recommend it.
You don't say that the movie Fingernails is a weird movie. Okay.
The Dead Center is a horror movie. Jeepers Creepers, Sinister, Dune Part 2.
Okay.
Saw that one. That is an epic movie. Gotta see that movie.
Okay.
Benny Loves You. That's a horror movie.
Loves You. Is that on Hulu? Is that?
It's on
Benny
Prime.
Loves You.
Maybe on Hulu.
I feel like I've heard of Benny Loves You.
Yeah. Little Joe.
What?
Moloch. 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 This one's not a horror one. American Fiction.
Okay.
Oscar nominee. Cottage Country.
I saw that you reviewed Cottage Country and it equated it to Tucker and Dale.
Right, it was written by the same guy.
Oh, okay. Well, great.
Yeah, and it stars Dale.
What?
The guy who plays Dale.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch this movie.
Yeah. The Feast. It's a Welsh horror movie.
No.
Past Lives, which is also an Oscar nominee for Best Picture, not horror movie. And Dream Scenario with
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
Okay, I saw that. I saw that you reviewed Dream Scenario. You gave it like 2.5 stars on Letterboxd.
It's not good.
A real stinker, huh? Okay. Smoking hot turd.
It's not a smoking hot turd. It's like
smoldering.
It's like those prank turds that you can buy and put in some,
the ones that Spencer gifts.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Dream Scenario tries too hard to be like a meaningful thing.
Okay.
And it fails. So anyway, yeah, I think I've got a problem. I probably need to discuss this with my therapist. Something avoidance, something.
Okay. Is that the technical like therapeutic term?
Right.
Something avoiding something. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anyway. But some of those are great. So, but yeah. I mean, I have fun watching the movies, and I got to watch some of these with my family. I'm not just sitting in the basement watching movies by myself all the time.
No one said anything about basement, first off. No one said. No, we all thought living room. Everyone listening to this thought living room. No one thought maybe bedroom. No one went, Steve's in the dark basement watching all these movies by himself. Like, that's weird.
Oh, no, but see, I didn't say dark basement.
Who knows? If we're going to add basement, we can start adding all sorts of other things too.
It's a nice basement. Give me a break. Come on. I'm in the basement right now. It's nice.
He's in the basement with Buffalo Bill. He puts the lotion on his skin for every movie.
This is going too far.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It does not put the lotion on its skin.
Okay. Well, it gets the hose again if it doesn't. So, you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
You know what? You want to hear something creepy?
Okay.
The girl in that hole in the movie Silence of the Lambs, who's being told to put the lotion on her skin.
Yeah.
Her name is Catherine Martin. That is my sister's name.
Well,
exactly.
Too close. It's too close to home then.
Oh, I'm going to have to bleep that out. I don't want people to know who I am.
Yeah. Well, we'll just cut that particular.
Find a guy named Steve Martin online.
Yeah. Yeah. Little does everyone know, it's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway,
6 degrees. 6 degrees of Steve Martin, and I'm talking to one of them. Yeah. So what the heck was this meme that you sent me that's ruining my childhood completely? I swapped faces with Golem and Yoda. I mean, what in the what is this thing?
It's so disturbing.
Golem looks fine as having Yoda's face, but Yoda having Golem's face is too much for me right now.
It's terrifying.
I mean, it would drastically change the movie.
Oh boy.
It would drastically change the movie if all of the wisdom that Yoda is passing on to Luke is coming out of that face. Like,
well, you know what would be fantastic is imagine a world where the Gollum and Yoda characters, which are puppet and CG,
okay,
if they were actual people who looked like that, like the person who looks and sounds like Yoda playing, like he scored the role of Gollum in the movies, so he's playing Gollum, and vice versa. Like the guy who is Gollum scored the role of in the reboots of Star Wars as Yoda.
So and, Andy Serkis.
No, the person, like, imagine Gollum, not just the voice, but imagine that was an actual person in real life. It was and he was imagine him being Yoda.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry. Went too far.
If our listeners saw this, I'm going to definitely post this picture because our listeners need to look at this photo and then also agree with me that it is ruining.
It is horrible.
I think what is that? The little logo at the top right-hand corner is from Screen Rant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So yeah,
I got that from Screen Rant.
Go to Screen Rant and find the Gollum and Yoda face swap. Oh my gosh, that is horrifying.
Yeah,
absolutely horrifying. Also, by the way, I want to give a shout out to our listeners. Man, they really came through.
Oh yeah.
As of the recording of this podcast, okay. Zach's List of Nopes is the number one played Horrors Yet Unseen episode.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Number one played.
Nice.
Okay. And I want to thank everybody, despite the crap that I got a little earlier from somebody who will remain nameless. I love the fact that it's the number one episode. Okay. For my own ego and pride. Okay. Cause it's just me being ridiculous for like 50 some minutes. And so
yeah, look at this. Look at that.
Yeah.
Little spike right there.
That's it.
Nice.
Yeah. All those were me, by the way. I listened to it that many times. I created that many different accounts and they were all just me. Yeah. I love that. I'm going to put that on my tombstone.
Wow. I think you got a low bar, dude.
Don't. Okay. It's my tombstone is my time to shine. Okay, Steve. Leave me alone.
I apologize. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Don't want to yuck on your yum.
I don't even know what you just said, and also I don't want that either. Don't want to yuck on my yum? Oh my gosh. What is happening? Please don't ever talk to me like that again.
I mean, you know what it means. I mean,
no, I have no clue, Steve. I don't think anybody does. I think people just turned off the podcast. I heard them. They turned off the podcast as soon as you said that.
The sound of a million voices at once crying out.
They immediately, you're going to yuck on my yum, and I don't have a clue what that means, and I feel like I need to tell my wife. And like, oh, sweetheart, how was the podcast? Well, Steve yucked on my yum, and I don't even know what that means. And so now I feel like we don't have a podcast anymore because we don't have an HR department, Steve. I don't know who to talk to.
I didn't realize that was your line.
Yeah, that's the line.
And I've crossed it. I apologize.
Yeah. So what does this mean? Are you just going to leave it hanging?
If something is... okay. So if you have something that you like, it's like, yum. It's a yummy thing. It's a good thing. You like it. And if I yuck on it, that's like... I'm saying like I'm making it bad. It's like I puked on you. It's like I puked on your cupcake.
See, why couldn't you just said that?
Okay. I don't want to puke on your cupcake.
Oh, man.
Zach.
It's okay. Not a big deal.
Wow. I think I'll stick with yuck on your yum.
It is more fun. It is more fun to say. I will give you that.
So you're going to be saying all the time now.
I will 100%.
It's your new catchphrase.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying out new Gen Z terminology, so that's fantastic. Oh. And then I also now will use the phrase yuck on your yum. But
yeah, put that on your
I don't know why it makes me giggle, okay? The 12-year-old kid inside my mind giggles with yuck on your yum. Okay.
So yeah.
I didn't go see Imaginary.
You didn't?
I told you that I was going to. I did not.
Okay.
I realized two things. Number one, I didn't really want to. Okay.
Right.
And that's the first one. And the second one is I tried to stay away from all of the reviews for it, but I opened up YouTube as you do. And the first image that came up was from a YouTube channel called We Watched a Movie. I don't know if you've ever heard of We Watched a Movie.
No.
But one of the hosts of that YouTube channel, his name is Mike. And Mike, the thumbnail was clickbait. Let's be honest with ourselves, Mike. I know exactly what you did, Mike. I know you're listening to this podcast. I know what you did. You yucked on my yum. And I don't. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Okay. Because I listened to the review, his review of the movie. He basically equated it to a Blumhouse, because it's produced by Blumhouse, and he equated it basically to Night Swim, which was apparently a bad Blumhouse movie, and that also I think recently came out, maybe 2024, 2023.
Yeah, 23. It did not get good reviews. I didn't see it myself.
It did not, and so I won't watch Night Swim because I feel like it'll ruin pools for me. I won't be able to do it. Even though it's bad. I probably will still see Imaginary. So I at least put it on the back burner. When it comes to streaming, I'll probably watch Imaginary. But I was literally in the car. I got halfway through town. I was like, Zach, you don't want to see this movie. Just go to Walmart and buy whatever and then go home. Like, you don't have to go.
Right.
And so, again, I didn't really want to go. But then on top of that, I saw the thumbnail and watched the movie review. And the one movie review that I just happened to watch was like, oh my gosh, this is a turd. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to watch it.
I happened to come across, after you mentioned it, I also kind of randomly came across a movie when I opened up YouTube, a video, I mean. I follow this gal. Her username is Spooky Astronauts.
Okay.
She's an Australian lady who talks about horror stuff. And the thumbnail had a picture of like the imaginary thing, and she has her fingers on her temples, like yeah. And it says, "Is Blumhouse okay?" A rant, imaginary.
Yep.
So I watched part of that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's enough. I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, the Mike had a similar thumbnail, and so I decided to watch it, and it's fine. I'll still watch the movie later on, but clearly now I just don't have I don't think I had high expectations for it to be like the crazy revolutionary thing, because it seems like in 2024, imaginary friends are.
Yeah, there's 2 movies coming out, right?
It's going to be a thing, right? You have John Krasinski writing If, and then Blumhouse wrote the horror movie Imaginary. So, I'm hoping that the John Krasinski movie probably way better. I trust John because he wrote A Quiet Place.
Yep,
and that's a fantastic movie. But in the same vein of how many movies did you watch this week? I didn't watch as many as you.
Good.
I didn't watch 15 movies. But I did watch 5.
Okay.
I did see 5 this week.
Which ones?
So I watched The Iron Claw.
Oh. That's the wrestling one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
5 out of 5.
Really?
I love that movie. So I grew up watching wrestling. I remember watching the very first Monday Night Raw, and I watched wrestling before that. My great-grandpa and I would watch wrestling. And I basically watched it through the Attitude Era, so Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and all of that. And then it was probably high school by the time I got out of it. And maybe college. I think college was probably, I'm done.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Iron Claw was fantastic. A24 knocked it out of the park, but of course they did. Duh. Then I watched the trilogy, the M. Night Shyamalan Unbreakable trilogy.
Oh, right.
Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. I watched all 3 of those. Unbreakable, 4.5 out of 5. That was a great movie. Split.
I should watch it again. I haven't seen it since it came out.
Yeah, Split, 4.5 out of 5. Give James McAvoy an Oscar for that performance. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's on my wish list, or what to watch list. I haven't seen it yet.
You totally should. And then Glass, down 0.5 star, 4 out of 5. It's a good trilogy. And then this Saturday, I'm going to do something a young person would do, and that's spend the day at the movie theater.
What's this Saturday?
So this weekend, Immaculate comes out.
Uh-huh.
Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Oh.
and then Late Night with the Devil.
That's all this weekend?
I bet, yeah.
Wow.
I'm at least going to go see them. I believe that Ghostbusters and Immaculate are coming out this weekend. Late Night with the Devil might be already out. I think it's a limited run. It's not in every single theater. And so, but Immaculate and Ghostbusters are a nationwide releases. So yeah, I'm going to basically start at one theater and go to the other and basically be there for the rest of the day. I'm going to start at like 10:25 in the morning watching Immaculate. I think that's the first one. I think we can go to that day, Saturday. I'm going to start off watching Immaculate. That's the morning.
I'm not sure I've heard of Immaculate.
I think that's the Sydney Sweeney nun movie.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to start off in the morning. I'm going to go watch Immaculate. Then I'm going to switch in the afternoon. I'm going to go see Ghostbusters. And I say we, but it's me. And then in the late afternoon, Late Night with the Devil.
It's a good Saturday.
Will you be seeing any of those movies?
I'm. You know what? I'm gonna book my flight real quick. Head
Not
on
with
out
me.
Where you are.
Okay. I mean, it'd be cool if you did. That'd be awesome. But
No, I don't know. I haven't. You seem to be a person who likes. If you had to have a choice, watch it at home, streaming, or go to the movie theater. What would you do?
It depends on. Honestly, it depends on the movie.
Okay.
Because like I Ghostbusters, I want to go see in the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
All three of these movies I want to go see in theaters. But Imaginary, I'm just going to wait till streaming. Not because it was ruined, but because I was kind of already on the fence about seeing it. And the review just kind of pushed that over the edge. But, there are other movies getting ready to come out. Like I think May 2nd is I Saw the TV Glow. It's an A24 movie.
Mm-hmm.
Probably will wait to see that one in theater or on streaming.
Yeah.
Just because I watched the trailer, I'm like, this was weird.
Right.
Sometimes that comes back to bite me in the butt. I'll wait till streaming and I'm like, dang it, I freaking missed my opportunity to see in theaters. Dune 2 I probably should see in theaters versus at home.
Yeah, it's worth seeing in theaters.
If I can go see a movie in XD, I will go see a movie in XD. I've still never been to an IMAX theater, but I have an XD theater, so that's close enough. What about you?
I would prefer a movie theater, but I would like that movie theater to be next door to my house.
Got it.
You got to go and you got to park and go to the thing, and then if you want food, it's $1,000, and
yeah.
I came across a what's it called? A survey. Came across a survey of adults in America, and 2/3 of adults in America would prefer to just wait for something to come to streaming.
That's kind of sad.
As opposed to going to the theater.
I think that if you were, if you're taking into consideration the fact that you need snacks, that makes sense because snacks are basically how the movie theater makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
But out of the 3 movies I'm going to go see this Saturday, I'll probably really only get snacks at one of those movies.
Right.
And the snack is probably, it's probably not going to be popcorn. Like it'll probably just be like, I'm thirsty, so I'm just going to get like a medium cherry Coke and that'll be it.
Right.
And maybe I'll get Milk Duds or something like that, or I'll just sneak it into the theater like every other person. And so, you know what I mean? You just go to the Dollar Tree and just get Milk Duds.
Right.
Come on. So yeah, if you take that out though, if you take out the idea of getting snacks in a movie theater, I wonder if that number jumps up or lowers. Well, jumps up is the right way. Yeah. More people would want to go to the theater if the snacks were cheaper.
Yeah, could be.
Because you're taking your family, your kids are gonna want Twizzlers and all sorts of other stuff. Your wife's gonna want some popcorn. You're gonna want to share a jumbo popcorn with her, and blah blah blah. And so, on top of the $14 a ticket or whatever it is, all to run to the bathroom 4 times during the Despicable 4 movie with your kids who can't hold it in their, you know what I mean? Because they're children and they can't hold it.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to go to every movie in a theater, but it's financially prohibitive and time wise and all that. So
Yeah.
and I can't watch it while I'm doing the dishes either. So
You can't do
it's the
what?
missing. I can't watch a movie at a theater while I'm doing the dishes
Well,
or
I
folding laundry
mean, yeah,
or poop.
but that last one, I do you need to watch a movie while you do all 3 of those things?
No, but I can.
Well, yeah, we all.
How do you think
can.
I watch 15 movies?
You heard it here first, folks. Steve watched all 15 of those movies on the toilet. Did your legs fall asleep? Like,
I mean, I don't want to get too personal.
oh, heaven forbid! Now we back off. Oh, okay. What a schmuck! Come on, dude. All right.
Well, the next movie. Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Last question before I think we should probably just jump into our movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Are you going to go see the movie Civil War, or is that too close to home?
I will. So that again, that's the will you go see it? I'll probably not see it in the theater because the close to homeness of it. I think that the fact that the previews I've seen, I think they were very careful to make it look as though it could be on either side of the political aisle, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ambiguous whether or not it's like, yay, Civil War, or oh, Civil War. And I live in an area of the world where I'm literally the county line is about 2 miles away. And this county that I'm in is extremely blue. And the eastern half of the state, which is 2 miles away, is extremely red. And I don't know. I'm probably being a horrible person, but I don't want to get into a theater where it's too close to home.
Yeah,
I'll watch it at home because it's an interesting idea. The idea of a civil war, kind of a politically separated civil war, is it's in a there was a TV show on Prime, that I forget the name of it, but it was just recently. It had like 1 season, and it was kind of, it had that same kind of setup, and I find that fascinating, and sadly kind of likely, but I don't know. Are you going to see it?
Well, I mean, after what you just said, no. But yeah, I'll probably. It is this. I feel a mixed bag about it, and because I feel so many things about it, I'm completely divided about where to see it. I don't think that the start of the Civil War that will happen in real life, apparently, according to Steve, will happen in the movie theater that I'm going to see the movie in.
Right.
But I just saw a video of people lighting fireworks in a movie theater. Have you seen this video?
No, but around this movie?
No.
Just in general.
Like people being dumb.
What?
Lighting an entire giant firework thing off in a movie theater, which is, at that point, come on.
People are stupid, man.
Yeah. So, I don't think that I'm going to go see this movie and a Civil War is going to break out in the theater.
No, I don't
but
think so.
I do wonder, part of me wonders if movies like this are healthy for the American human psyche. Because people are freaking loony.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that it seems like it's probably made to kind of as a warning. Like, this could happen. But there are too many loonies out there who are like, this could happen. Nice.
Yeah. Well, like I told you in earlier episodes, like I went to see American Sniper and I went to see Zero Dark 30 in the theater.
Right.
And it felt very much like people were, the people that I was in the theater with, it felt very much like they thought we were watching a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Or we were watching real life footage, especially like the moment, because like Bradley Cooper is playing Chris Kyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that moment in Zero Dark 30. I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a movie.
No.
There's a moment in Zero Dark 30 where they switch basically to headcam night vision for the infiltration of Bin Laden's house.
Yeah.
And it felt to me, nobody said this, but I was around. This is pre-MAGA hat, by the way. So like, it felt very much like when we switched from camera to night vision GoPro, basically, that people were like, oh man, this is exactly how it happened. Because the theater was, I mean, just dead quiet. More than silence your cell phones in the movie theater. Like more than that. It was weird. And then there was this solemn silence after both of those movies. And it was eerie and it was weird. And I wonder if a very similar thing will happen in this one. And that makes me want to go see it, to see if there is a bit of tension that I feel in the movie theater. But also I may buy a Kevlar vest just to protect myself. Because people are a bit crazy. Anyway.
What a world.
Let's move on to more lighthearted things.
Please and thank you.
Well, Steve, you assigned me the movie Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, I had made you read a movie this week.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And I will not apologize.
No, you shouldn't. By the way, I finished it at like 3:00. So like today. And so,
okay.
I realized I had like a half an hour to go. We got back from grocery shopping. I was like, crap, I still got half an hour of this stupid movie to watch. So I finished it. It's good.
Okay.
We're all good. But I wanted to say this at the beginning of my review. One of the things I did when I wrote this review was write it live, meaning that I would watch a little bit and then write or react. And then I watch a little bit more and the same thing. And so what you're going to hear in my review is my live reaction to the movie.
Interesting. Okay.
And but I will say this: there are going to be some things about the movie that I left out, some subplots throughout the movie that I did leave out, because the movie is basically split into thirds. So part of the movie follows Mercedes, who is the seemingly the head housekeeper, and it follows her and the quote unquote gorillas in the woods, who are the enemy, basically. She has a brother in the military who is fighting the captain and his army, and she is the head housekeeper of the captain's household.
Right.
So the movie follows her, and like that plot line. The movie follows then the captain and the army-esque portion of this, and then the movie follows Ophelia and her story through the labyrinth and all of that stuff. And then there's also, I guess, Ophelia's mom, Carmen, and so like there's a bunch of different moving parts. For the most part, I followed Ophelia. So my review kind of just, but anyway, Letterboxd synopsis: living with her tyrannical stepfather in a new home with her pregnant mother, 10-year-old Ophelia feels alone until she explores a decaying labyrinth guarded by a mysterious faun who claims to know her destiny. If she wishes to return to her real father, Ophelia must complete 3 terrifying tasks. Fantastic synopsis. I really like that one. Okay. So the story follows a girl named Ophelia who is, at the beginning of the movie, traveling with her pregnant mother on their way to see the captain. We find out that the captain has married Ophelia's mother, Carmen. And the baby that Carmen is pregnant with is the captain's baby. Ophelia is not a fan of the fact that she now has a new stepdad. From the very beginning, she's not happy about it. I think Carmen actually mentions in the car ride, like, hey, call him dad, basically. Call him father. Don't say stepfather. And he's also like a general in the army. So there is that aspect. Or maybe the captain, because he's freaking the captain. And so anyway, whatever. I just realized that. So that's fine. On their journey to see the captain, Ophelia stumbles across a fairy. That fairy follows them back to the captain's house. One night, the fairy visits her and wants Ophelia to follow down this labyrinth behind their little base to see the faun. Faun explains that Ophelia, or to Ophelia, what was explained to us in the very beginning of the movie, that Princess Moana would return and that Ophelia is Princess Moana.
Moana?
Yeah, Moanna.
Oh, so I didn't realize there was a name, just like Moana, like the Disney movie.
Yeah, not the Hawaiian Polynesian.
I guess
Moana.
I totally missed that name. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. You know, what can I say? You're welcome. And so, boom, dad joke. So yeah, Princess Moana is the daughter of the king of the underworld. This is Fawn explaining this to Ophelia. Princess Moana is the daughter of the king of the underworld. Princess Moana's real father had Fawn and some others open up portals all over the world to allow Princess Moana and her soul to return. But Fawn has to make sure her essence, Princess Moana's essence, is intact. So he gives her a book, tells her to open it when she is alone, and it will reveal to her the 3 tasks that she must perform to make sure that she hasn't become mortal. The first task is to find this tree that all of these creatures have slept under in the woods when the woods was young. And there she would find a toad living under the tree, this giant toad living under the tree. She must feed this toad 3 stones and then grab the golden key from its stomach. So that scene is gross. Okay?
Yeah.
It's gross. I thought that it was interesting that, like, how quickly she realizes, because she's kind of covered in bugs as she's crawling through the base of this tree. And she realizes pretty quickly, oh, this frog or this toad is going to use its tongue and snatch these bugs off of me so I can use one of the bugs as bait to get the toad to eat the stones, the magic stones.
Right.
But what comes next, because I was like, how is she going to grab this golden key from the frog's stomach? Well, I'll tell you, Steve. The toad is going to throw its entire insides up in this one gigantic bug-like gelatin consistency.
Yeah.
And then deflate like a tire. Just deflate like a balloon. The skin of this toad is going to deflate. Super gross. And she sees the key, grabs the key, goes on her way. There are some subplots that go on, like Ophelia's dress being dirty and the quote-unquote gorillas being driven out. 2 main subplots I found interesting at this point in the movie. First is where I got the sense that Fawn is lying to Ophelia about his purpose. Fawn has this air about him that seems a bit devilish and seems a bit mysterious. And it made me wonder if his purpose was something a little more nefarious. Like, at the end, like he can't complete the tasks, so he's getting her to complete the task so he can betray her. It felt again. This is still very early on in the movie. I'm getting this.
Yeah, I do want to say I really like how the design of the fawn, the character design,
mm-hmm.
it really it's very ambiguous. It's because he looks like he could be completely scary and dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
but he also looks kind of delicate and fanciful.
Right.
It's like really plays. It's right on the border. It's really
Right.
good.
It is really good. Because he has goat-esque characteristics,
Mm-hmm.
and as our previous reviews have determined, goats are bad, especially
Goats are absolutely bad.
black goats. Ain't nobody got time for that crap. You got Black Phillip up in there, and like
7-foot tall goats that walk on their back legs is probably also
exactly,
want to watch out.
Exactly. So anyway, anybody could pull what we just said out of context. I just realized and really just ruin this podcast. Please don't do that. Anyway, the second subplot that I found interesting was why the captain married Ophelia's mom. It's not long before you get the impression that the captain is a complete turd nugget of a person. And so the reason why I thought that this subplot was very interesting is, so we're at dinner, the captain has people over, and one of the ladies asks Carmen how she met the captain. And she basically explains, I was married to a tailor. That tailor made suits for the captain. Then the tailor died. I kind of ran the business, and the captain and I got reacquainted. And that's kind of it. But the captain is uncomfortable the entire time she is explaining this. And basically, after that, apologizes for his wife and is like, she has a knack for the fanciful and the imaginary, and like completely basically discredits what her story is. And I'm like, oh dang, dude, like what the so on top of the fact that he's clearly not a very nice person, he does that, and then you kind of just see the light die out of Carmen's eyes because he basically just diminishes her or her telling of the story and whatnot. And I mean, you basically find out later that he just wants a son, and so he basically just impregnated the first woman that he could take advantage of, and that's it. Because later on, he tells the doctor, "Hey, if you can save one person, save the baby. Don't," because basically he views Carmen as a vessel to get a son instead of as an actual wife, which again, we'll lightly say turd nugget of a person instead of other more decorative words that we could use to describe the captain. Yeah. So Ophelia's mother starts to bleed, and she's having complications with the pregnancy. She's basically having light complications with the pregnancy basically this whole time. But this kind of crescendos up to this point where she finally starts to bleed very heavily. So Ophelia neglects the tasks that she has to do to help her mom. Fawn then comes and reminds Ophelia, hey, you have these tasks to get done before the full moon. So he gives her this mandrake root, the plant that dreamt of being a human. Tells her to put it under her mom's bed in a bowl of milk, and every morning give it 2 drops of blood, which I thought was really weird. Because who the heck wouldn't think that that's weird? It falls in line with the fanciful fairy tale nature of the story, but you pull that stuff into real life and you're like, what the heck is this? This is weird.
Right.
He then gives her the second task to do and tells her where she is going. There's a feast, but don't eat or drink anything. Her life depends on it. She opens the book and reads her instructions, and it tells her to draw a door on the wall and enter the second task. I will say this. For the amount of sand in the hourglass, I did not think that she was moving down that hall very quickly. Okay? She has to get back through the door. complete the task and get back through the door before the hourglass runs out. Which, let's be honest with ourselves, that seems a bit unnecessary for this task. What do we need a time limit? I mean, I get that the creature that she's about to go see is revealed to be this baby eater, which, Steve, come on. Why? This is like freaking back-to-back movies that you have given me where somebody is a baby eater.
Okay. He's not a baby eater. He's a child eater.
Oh,
totally different.
So sorry. Okay.
I mean, the pile of shoes is not baby shoes. They're like toddler and up. Takes the curse right off it.
You're right, Steve. How could I have been so blind to all of that? The amount of delusion that you live in is absolutely astounding.
Did you know that these are horror movies we're talking about?
Oh my gosh, are they? Yeah. Yeah. We're on a horror movie review podcast. Oh my gosh. Anyway, she flips the hourglass over, draws the door, goes through it, flips the hourglass over, and then starts walking down the hall. I immediately go, sister, you're not walking fast enough. You need to hustle. She then turns around and looks at the hourglass, and it's basically a quarter of the way gone. And I was like, you need to move.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time. So
kids have no concept of time.
Zero. And so the fawn gives her, I didn't mention this, the fawn gives her his fairies to help guide her. They do a terrible job of guiding her, by the way, because they point to the wrong door. There's like 3 doors that she has to unlock because apparently she's on a game show, and they're like, pick door number 2, and so she's like, okay, I'll pick door number 2, and she puts the key inside, and then is like, no, I think it's door number 1, so she switches to door number 1, pulls out this golden dagger. I'm like, freaking fairies, what the heck? Can't ever trust them. But then she is passing this giant feast, super hungry. Because what kid doesn't want a snack? Let's be honest. I want a snack. I'm 36. And so she steals a grape, eats a grape, and the creature wakes up. And
well, at least the fairies try to stop her from eating the food.
The fairies do. She just swats them out of the way like they are annoying little mosquitoes. And then 2 of the fairies get eaten. And so, come on.
That was disturbing.
Well, it just basically grabbed them and bit their heads off.
Right.
And so, wild thing, but also not uncharacteristic from a baby eater. Oh, sorry, toddler eater. Super sorry. Want to make that distinction. She doesn't make it back to the door, and then grabs the chalk, draws basically another door, and goes through the door, which again leads me back to, I don't understand the purpose of the hourglass at this point, because she has the chalk. She can just draw another door and get back into reality. So what's the point of the time limit? I don't understand. Maybe just to add suspense, maybe, I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Did you describe the guy who chased her? The bad guy?
I mean, I didn't want to describe him because he just looked like a naked, old, disgusting man with hanging skin, and he puts his eyes in the palms of his hands and then holds his hands up to his face like they're eyes, and that's weird. It's a great monster. Also, he doesn't wear pants. His legs have atrophied. He's walking around on sticks, and
he's got a lot of extra skin hanging off. He's got
a lot of skin hanging over his ding dong, and I don't really know. Does he have one? I don't know. I don't want to know. So I didn't choose to describe any of that, despite the fact that I just did. So,
well, I didn't. I wasn't curious about his ding dong, but
okay.
The reason I paused there is I think that it's fascinating. This creature, this like, he's one of the scariest monsters that I've seen, and the weird thing is, and I love this about this movie, is that he walks super slow.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously very unsteady on his feet, but he seems like he's like so terrifying.
Yeah,
because he has no eyes, and he just bit the head off of 2 fairies, and he looks like he used to be super, super, super fat and overweight. And now he's emaciated and skinny, and so he's got all this extra flaps of skin on him.
Right.
I don't know. And there's pictures all over the place, paintings of him eating children, and like I said, the pile of shoes on the floor. That guy really creeped me out.
Yeah. One of the things that my review will not do is paint that kind of picture. Like this movie is I love that you laugh. Like what what I mean to say is this movie it is a fairy tale-esque story.
Right.
That needs to be seen in order to really fully be appreciated.
Right.
Because what Guillermo does in the creation of these monsters and characters and the cinematography of this movie is stunning. It is he does a really great job of creating fawn and creating this second monster. And
right.
even the toad has this air about him that is fairy tale-esque, and I mean it makes sense that it's more of a fairy tale-esque story because Ophelia is very infatuated with books and fairy tales and reading and magic and all of that stuff. So the fact that that is coming to real life, again, my words in this review are going to fall short. It is best if you, I think that's kind of just why I stayed away from describing all of that stuff, because just watching it and being in the movie, without your phone in your hand is however you want to watch it. You want to watch it washing dishes, you want to watch it folding laundry, washing on the toilet like Steve. If you want to do any of that stuff, go right ahead. I think you should just watch it in a normal room, sitting on the couch.
Agreed.
Who am I to tell you how to watch a movie?
Especially if you don't speak Spanish.
Well, ideally, yeah, because the entire movie is in Spanish. You need to read the subtitles. So Ophelia she then gets back home, safe and sound. She's down 2 fairies, though. She had 3 when she started. She's down 2. And because she just needed that grape, which, by the way, can we talk about this grape? It's freaking giant. Holy cow.
It's huge. Big grape.
What kind of
Spain has good grapes.
Huh?
Spain has good grapes. What did I say?
I guess. I mean, it seemed like they were genetically modified. And so that's all I'm saying.
Fairytale grapes.
Oh, fairytale grapes are giant. Okay. Sorry. I didn't know the rules. Spanish fairy tale grapes are giant, apparently.
Obviously.
Duh. So Ophelia takes the mandrake root. She puts it in her mother's room in a bowl, puts some milk on top of it, and it immediately comes alive like it is a baby. Because I wrote down, because why wouldn't it? And while under the bed, the doctor and the captain come in. Ophelia hears the captain say that if in the event of a birth choice, choose to save the baby and not the mother. So that obviously continues to cement. There are several moments in this movie that cement Ophelia's hatred for the captain. And at this point, I say there's a small detail that keeps coming up in the movie. Or there are small details that keep coming up in the movie. I don't know if they will have any impact. Mercedes carries a knife in her apron, and the captain always looks at his watch. Like he's looking at his watch like it's counting down to something. It's not. Yeah. Okay. And so there are these 2 aspects. Again, I'm writing this live as I'm kind of writing and pausing and writing and pausing. So these are just small little details that I've picked up. When I wrote that, I did not know what was going to happen. Fawn comes to visit Ophelia and she tells him that she had an accident, shows him that the 2 fairies are missing. He basically completely reprimands her. I can't believe that you would do this. Oh, clearly we've made a mistake in choosing you. You're never allowed to return to the labyrinth. And he leaves. And that's a very heart-wrenching kind of scene. The captain starts to basically, at this point in the movie, the captain basically gets suspicious of nearly everybody. He finds Ophelia under the bed and yells at her about the root. Her mother then throws the root in the fire and then tells Ophelia life-ruining spectacular monologue, basically, that magic is not real and that life is going to suck, and, real good parenting kind of stuff, and years of therapy kind of stuff. So, but in a strange turn of events, magic does exist because the mandrake root baby immediately starts screaming in the fire, and Carmen's pain rushes back, and the doctors basically can't save Carmen this time. And the doctor can't save Carmen because the freaking captain shot him in the back. Because, again, the captain is starting to get suspicious of everybody. And so the troop paramedic comes in. The baby is born. Carmen didn't survive. And Ophelia is sitting outside the room, and she is now alone, basically. She doesn't have fun. She doesn't have these tasks. She doesn't have a kingdom. She doesn't have a mom. She has a baby that she loves, I guess, because she sings to it and tells it stories, but she's in a very crappy environment and does not want to be
good.
Mercedes tells Ophelia that she is leaving. Ophelia begs to come with her. They leave together, but are quickly caught by the captain because, again, the captain is suspicious of everybody. The captain throws Ophelia back in her room and ties up Mercedes in the barn. But my suspicion was right. Mercedes has a knife hidden in her apron. She cuts herself loose and stabs the captain. And I was like, heck yeah, dude. Stab that bee. Like, just go to town.
Yeah.
She only stabs him twice, though. And I was like, hey, knock it off. Stab him more than that. But she does cut his cheek. Like, she sticks the blade in his mouth and is like, if you ever touch Ophelia, I'll kill you, blah, blah, blah. Cuts his cheek. Turns him into a real-life Joker. And, or half Joker.
Right.
And she's able to get away with this because in Bond villain-like monologue, the captain turns his back on Mercedes and reveals his entire plan to her. I'm like, what is happening? So Mercedes escapes. She bursts out of the barn and kind of realizes, oh crap, I may have just done away with the captain, but there's a bunch of other army guys here.
Like, right, it's like a whole platoon.
I don't know how I'm going to get out of this one. So she basically runs up this hill. Impressively, she runs way faster than this herd of horses that's coming after her. Uphill, mind you. Like, that was incredible to me. But then, gets gassed at the top of the hill, gets surrounded. Just when you think that it's the last bit for her, some shots basically come out of the woods. It's her brother. He comes and saves her with a bunch of different guys. Again, this is a subplot that I have not explored in this review. Again, just go watch the movie because it's worth it. Then we see Ophelia. She's depressed and sad. Fawn comes back, gives her a second chance, which seemed odd to me. Again, because I'm kind of suspicious of Fawn at this point. He was so adamant about her messing up that now I'm like, why the heck are you back, dude? I don't understand. He tells her that the third task is that she needs to fetch her brother and bring him to the labyrinth. And I immediately am like, flare gun, red flag, full stop. That seems crazy suspicious to me. Like, Steve's about to make me watch another baby sacrifice movie. And I was like, no, says I don't want to watch this. The captain sews his mouth back together in one of the most cringeworthy scenes I've ever seen in my whole life.
That was rough.
The camera stayed on him way too long, dude. I was like, Guillermo, dude, you got to freaking move the camera. Say cut. I don't like this. Because the camera just stays on him as he sews his mouth
slowly.
Oh, dude, it's so gross. Like, up to this point, there are several moments that are very horror-esque. Like, they capture two farmers who are hunting rabbits.
Yes.
And the son gets his face beaten in by a bottle. Like, from the nose. Like, his face is caved in. And I was like, oh my god.
That's another one. I'm like, take the camera off it.
Yeah. But that wasn't as bad as the face sewing up. I had a visceral reaction to that.
Yeah.
But then, in the most toxic masculine move I've ever seen in my life. The dude sews his half cut cheek up and then pours himself a glass of whiskey. And I'm like, you freaking moron. You absolute idiot. Whiskey's gonna burn your cut cheek, you ding dong. And what happens? He puts the Band-Aid on his cheek. He takes the shot of whiskey and then goes, ow. And I'm like, that's what you get, you idiot.
He was disinfecting it. It was all part of the plan.
Okay. I think that he was just going full, like, just turn your head. Just take your shot, but also keep the cut above where the whiskey's going to be because it's going to burn, you ding dong. Anyway. Took me back to my childhood when mom would pour like peroxide on a wound and it would bubble and I'd be like, ah, like, but you can't stop staring at it.
No.
Anyway, yeah. So the captain summons Ophelia, or the captain is summoned, and Ophelia poisons him, or what I think is poison. Right. She basically just gives him this nightshade or something like that, puts a bunch of drops in his whiskey because again he gets hurt and then pours himself a second glass of whiskey. Buffoon, what is happening? So she takes advantage of that. So he downs the poison whiskey, chases after Ophelia. He's kind of fading very fast and he's all over the place, stumbling around. The army's being attacked. Ophelia with her baby brother goes back into the labyrinth. Fawn asks for the baby again. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Steve's gonna make me watch this. The fawn has the golden dagger in his hand, and I'm like, again, time out. What's happening? He then explains that the portal will only open with the blood of the innocent. He then assures her that it's only going to be a pinprick, but we know that it's not going to be just a pinprick. Yeah. He's gonna stab this baby in the head, and I ain't gonna like it. Ophelia says Fawn can't have the baby and chooses to give up her kingdom. The captain then finds his way into the center of the labyrinth, takes the baby out of Ophelia's hands, and then shoots Ophelia. Dude, that was like, whoa! Did not see that coming. He shoots Ophelia.
Yep.
She falls over, and I immediately go, blood of the innocent. This is, the baby didn't need to die. Ophelia's sacrifice is going to make this portal open. The captain steps out of the labyrinth, is immediately surrounded by the enemy, Mercedes and her brother. Captain hands off his son to Mercedes, and then Mercedes' brother shoots him in the freaking face. He gets shot in the face.
Yeah. Mercedes
goes and finds Ophelia, who is shot, which harkens back to the beginning of the movie. Yes, I said the word harkens. Harkens back to the beginning of the movie where we see a bloody Ophelia laying on the ground. As Ophelia is lying there, she is transported to the throne room of her father, where she is basically told that her choosing to spill her own blood versus killing her baby brother was the final task. We flash back to reality where Ophelia dies. Mercedes is weeping over her. The end monologue tells us that the princess returned to her father and lived a long time, basically centuries, I think. And the final shot is of a flower blooming on the tree, so that the forest can kind of just be restored back to its natural safe haven for all of these creatures. And 5 out of 5. This movie was fantastic, despite the fact that I had to read for 2.5 hours, but still, or 2 hours. 5 out of 5. I thought this story was very well told. Again, it seemed very fairy tale book, but in movie form. I also liked the quote unquote real life horror in this movie.
Right.
Like is in the time of war. So there is, again, you watch the movie, you'll kind of understand what I mean by real life horror. Not manufactured, but it it wasn't overly filled with horror elements enough to overshadow the story.
Right.
It had this perfect blend of dark fantasy and horror and fairy tale storytelling and fantastical characters and conflict and love, and it was a great movie. It was a great movie, and I want to be done talking about it because I feel like I've been talking forever.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's so good. The give it a while and watch it again sometime. You start seeing all these connections, like the fairy tale world in the movie, in the Labyrinth. It's like a mirror of the above world in a lot of ways. Like and I saw some of this from Guillermo del Toro talking about the movie. He's showed how the scene of the long table where the creepy scary guy is at the end. It's exactly the same shape and everything of the room where the captain or whatever has his table, and he's at the end and all his people. It's the evil above and the evil below, and the fairy tale evil and the real evil are they're the same thing. Right. And it's another one of these movies you could almost imagine that none of the supernatural stuff happened at all. It could have been all in the girl's mind, and of her like trying to pretend, kind of dissociate and pretend that the world was really fantastical, and it's not. And I don't know.
Right.
It's but I don't know. I just love it. It's so good. Yeah. And the aesthetics of it and the design, it's good in the right ways and creepy in the right ways. And glad you liked it.
It is a very like I said, I enjoyed it. I was giving Steve heck this week because he was going to make me read a movie. That was just me being a goober. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thought that even for some of the bad CG that's in the movie, it's CG of the time. So I didn't like the toad is it's very clear that it's sure. CGI, and obviously why wouldn't it be? But I don't know. There are aspects of this movie that I probably could have got caught up on, gotten hung up on, but I just didn't. I gave it complete credit because it is this fantastical kind of, it's not a kid's story. At first, I kind of thought that this movie might be like a kid's story. It's not. No, that immediately went out the window. That immediately went out the window when that farmer's son got his face beat in. And I was like, oh no.
That was brutal.
This is not for kids.
No.
So I enjoyed it. 5 out of 5. I thought it was a perfect blend of several different genres, several different aspects. And then the story was a very human-esque story. You could very easily put yourself in at any point, and the actors did a great job as far as their facial expressions and the way that they needed to convey certain emotions. And it was Guillermo del Toro and the rest of the cast and crew did a fantastic job writing and acting in this movie. So 5 out of 5.
Yeah, he's he's one of my favorite directors for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, I'm glad you enjoyed that movie. I had the privilege of watching Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
A movie which I had seen for a long time and never got around to because just the name was kind of sounded goofy. And it's a goofy, ridiculous movie that is... I think I'm starting to understand you a little bit more now with these movies, because I watched this twice. Watched it this past week, and I watched it again this morning to kind of take notes and stuff. The first watch, I'm like, come on, I'm just like picking it apart. And the second, I'm like, this gets 2 more stars than I thought it was going to get.
Ooh,
because I'm starting. So I gave it like 1 star in my mind, and then I'm like, it's 3. It's a bit above the average because I understand now that these movies are not like this one it's not supposed to be like a serious scary movie, right? If it's goofy in ways, and it's like purposely ridiculous. I think that you use that word a lot with these movies. It's ridiculous in and on purpose, because I realized going through this the second time that the goofiest stuff happens, and it's kind of played off as serious. Like he's on the phone calling the police. The guy who plays the Mac, Justin Long.
Justin Long, yeah.
And he like runs around the corner, and he like hits the end of the cord, and he like snaps his head back, and that's just goofy. The fact that anybody would want to put their head down a murder hole pipe. I mean, come on, it's just goofy. So I had more fun with it the second time around. I'll put it that way. And I'm like, I get this. I can like be a little bit less serious, because I think I need that a little bit in my life in general at times. I mean, I'm goofy all the time, but one of my favorite movies I have on my playlist, one of my favorite films for on the Letterboxd is The Tree of Life. Have you ever seen that movie?
I've heard of this movie. I don't think I've ever seen it.
So it's a movie by Terrence Malick, and any movie by Terrence Malick requires you to be super like in it and thoughtful and looking for the meaning and very serious.
Okay.
You know, because I think The Tree of Life has hardly any dialogue in the whole thing. It's a trip, but I'm gonna have fun with this one. So Jeepers Creepers, I had a little bit more fun with, and I mean the I love the way the movie started out, because they're driving. He and his sister are driving down the road. They're having the best and most accurate brother and sister banter ever, which I really appreciated. The total just like making fun of each other, and having a sister myself, I totally can relate to. I actually had to like have my whole family watch just that beginning part, because like this is great. The way brother and sister yelling at each other and making fun of each other, and they're heading back from college or whatever, and they're on the road, and this guy who, spoiler alert, he's the killer, comes up in this car behind him and like tries to run him off the road, basically.
Yeah.
The Mac or Justin or Derry, whatever we're going to call him, he's like, that's a vehicle for assholes and serial killers. Well, I wonder if that truck's going to come back again.
Yep.
And I had to crack up, because the license plate actually says "eating you," EATINGU. So what we have is a serial killer monster guy who has a specialized custom license plate that talks about eating people.
Yeah. How the state approved that is beyond me.
Right. And it's like not suspicious at all. And he passes them, and they drive, and they see this truck parked out there in front of a derelict church. And dude from the car is throwing a body down a giant pipe. And they're like, what? And then he runs them off the road again, completely runs them off the road. And I also appreciated how this movie did have a lot of kind of a self-aware commentary, as far as that's what happens in a horror movie. This is just going to go wrong, and it does.
Yeah.
Or the Justin Long he's like, let's go back and check that out. Check that pipe out. She's like, are you stupid?
Yeah.
This is why women live longer than men.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, if somebody tried to kill you, I got to figure out why. And he played the character of Derry is just the dumbest guy who just does everything to get himself killed. And his sister's like trying to make him not be stupid, and he's just determined to be stupid. So he goes and looks in this giant pipe, and he's like, oh, I think there's something down there. So he goes in head first and has her hold on to his feet, and then he sees a rat and kicks his feet and then blames her for dropping him. Anyway, he falls into the thing and finds a dead body down there, and then looks around and sees, like, as he describes it, 500 to 600 other bodies stapled to the roof of this cavern that they're in or something, and he finds the bodies of this couple that disappeared like 30 years ago, 20 some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
All this weird stuff. Then they get out. He gets out of the cavern somehow. They leave the death pipe behind, and goes and finds a payphone, and they get to the payphone, and they're immediately called by a woman who inexplicably knows what's going on. A black lady who had visions, and I had to laugh because I just saw a trailer for a movie called The American Society of Magical Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this trope called the magical Negro trope in film and entertainment and books and TV and stuff,
mm-hmm.
of a black person showing up in the movie who mysteriously knows a thing or is psychic or has a special talent to help the white folk out.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
But it's all in good fun, but it just made me laugh. I now I want to see the movie too. The American Society of Magical Negroes looks pretty funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this nice lady calls and it's like trying to help them out, help them not get hurt. Tells them to run away when they hear the song "Jeepers Creepers," which I thought was funny. I mean, they could have picked a lot of movies or songs for that one, but so
well, you know,
nice
the
lady,
film title is
Jeepers Creepers, right?
Yeah,
but I mean, they should have picked another movie or a song.
So
I mean,
what? Yeah, but it had to match.
Well, they got the name from the movie from the song.
Yeah, duh. That's my point, Steve.
I know, but they could have picked another song.
So what would you have called this movie?
Here's what I'm going at. This is what I meant to say. There's no reason to call this movie Jeepers Creepers except for that song.
Okay, so what would you think of a song, and the title has to match the title of the movie? So what song would you call it?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I'll come back to you.
Got it. Okay.
Anyway, it's not a big deal. It's just, that anyway. So she tries to help them, and he tells her to F off.
Yeah.
And he slams his foot down. And the police don't believe him because the story is over the top. And then the police are like, let's go out, check it out. And the police get killed along the way by Jeepers Creepers guy. And I was honestly very disappointed when they revealed that the monster was basically a dude with a mask on. Now, he later has like wings and stuff, and he's a little bit more to him. But the way they had him dressed up was he was like a cowboy, like long trench coat thing on, and like a cowboy hat. But he was this otherworldly being who eats humanity, that smells good, that has things in it that he likes or he needs. And he has wings, and he can regenerate himself. And he wakes up every 23 years for 23 days and feasts. And that's one of the things about this movie that I did. It's not higher than 3 stars for me, because even though it was fun the second time around, there's just so much unbelievable, not unbelievable, I guess internally unbelievable.
You couldn't suspend disbelief for any of this.
Yeah. Stuff. And it's kind of as sort of as like a subtopic here that I wanted to ask you about. We're watching lots of movies that are clearly not real, right? They're not documentaries, right? They're not even plausible. But there's this weird thing of when you're dealing with fiction or fantastical things, it needs to be internally consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm not going to believe that there's a guy who can fly around, but if he can fly around, then other things need to happen as well, or etc. But there was just so many implausible things about this movie. Like, there's a giant pipe, like 3-foot diameter pipe, angled into the ground by a church that's been there hundreds of years.
Yeah,
and there's a giant cavern with hundreds and hundreds of bodies. And nobody's thought about looking at this place. It's like, and there are crows everywhere. And
yeah.
And And like we said, the license plate with the guy says "eating you," and all this stuff is so implausible. And like they would go, nobody's going to go back to and look down the hole of that thing, and
Yeah.
and so then they then there's inexplicably this cat lady, like what who, and she gets killed by the monster. Then the sister runs over the monster multiple times back and forth, and I thought that was kind of funny. He, she runs him over and puts it in reverse and starts to go back again. Derry is like, "You're gonna run him over again?" He's like, isn't he dead? She's like, "They never are." Perfect. You've seen horror movies. So she squishes him pretty good, and you think he's dead, and you see his wing pop out and everything. He's not dead. He has just enough oomph in him to kind of regenerate, and he comes back to life. And they go to the police. Finally, Magic Black Lady shows up to help him out, and then Mr. Mask shows up and kills all the police people. And everybody remains completely stupid the entire time and makes all the wrong choices. Then Mr. Mask takes Derry and he sniffs both the siblings, sniffs them real good.
Yeah. Very Deliverance style.
Very. That was creepy. And he takes Derry, thank goodness, because Derry deserves to die. And the sister's like begging him, like, take me. I'm stronger. You need to take me. And he doesn't. And sister begs him, and he takes away Derry, flies off into the sunset or the night, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the parents come, and Magic Black Lady helps the Trish calm her down a little bit, and then it shows at the very, very end, kind of the slow pan as this version of Jeepers Creepers is playing on the radio. Slow panel across, and you see Derry with, I guess, his skin off of him, and it's just his skin, and his eyes are gone, and like the eye of the monster peeks through the eye socket, and it's like end. I didn't mention that the monster also like sews people back together and like cuts them apart or whatever it does, and like he'll eat a part of a person and he'll put the part of that person on another person or something. It's a little unclear, but there's lots of sewing of parts that are implied. So it was a goofy. If it's one of those movies that if I was younger or not as hopelessly deadened to all my feelings when I'm watching movies, it would have been more on the scary side. But I think I've just seen too many scary movies, and I think my standards are really finely tuned.
Yeah.
But when I kind of shifted it into, okay, this is like kind of half, it's kind of a bit tongue in cheek still. I had a lot more fun with it.
Got it.
So 3 stars is what I gave it.
I clearly saw this movie right when I wasn't desensitized, as you say. I saw the movie when it came out.
Oh wow, 22 years ago.
Yeah. So I was terrified.
Oh, I would. Yeah.
This was a scary movie to me back in 2001.
If I was a teenager
or 2002 or whenever I saw it, it was a scary movie. So like to hear you be like, no way, man, this is a complete goober of a movie. Justin Long is in on it the whole time. It's like I had a very different reaction to that. Now I haven't seen it recently, so I probably would have maybe a different take on it now. And part of me, now that you say all of that, does want to go back and rewatch it and just see how loony it actually is. Or
a lot of the looniness is Justin Long specifically, and I think
he has a knack for that.
Yeah,
he has a real knack for that. He had the knack in Tusk. He has the knack in Barbarian. Like,
right.
He has this. Was It's a Wonderful Knife. Have you seen that one?
Was he in that?
Yeah, he plays the mayor in It's a Wonderful Knife, but every time he plays these horror-esque in these horror movies,
yeah.
First off, like, Justin, we know you're listening, but don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at that. We know Justin Long is at least one of the 15 people that are following us on what is it, Spotify. Yeah, he's at least one of the 15. Come on, people. Let's get it together.
Yep.
But he does have that kind of face in a horror movie that you do want to punch.
Oh, okay? 100%.
So, like, not in real life, Justin is probably a really great guy. Again, we love you, Justin. We know you're listening. But still, in those movies, you do play characters that when the hijinks start to ensue, you go, this was Justin's fault. That was the way I felt about it. And it's like in Tusk,
right?
He plays a character that when he gets sewn together, you go, of course, you gullible piece of crap. Come on. You went to a stranger's house and you had some tea. Of course you got sewn together. Oh, now, when he turns into the walrus or whatever, you're like, whoa, that's a bit too far. That's a bit crazy. But of course, you got sewn together. And from the moment that he appeared on screen in It's a Wonderful Knife, I was like, he's the bad guy. Because Justin has this way about acting. And having said that, Justin plays one of Jessica Day's boyfriends in the show The New Girl.
Oh, really?
And his last name is Genslinger, and hilarious. He plays such a great, awkward boyfriend in that completely diffuses what I just said about him having a punchable face. Like, because you love, from the moment that he comes on screen in New Girl, I love his character. But, here in Jeepers Creepers, of course you got taken away. Because you stuck your head down the tube and you perfectly lined yourself up for all of this to happen.
He was asking for it the whole time.
Yeah, but he does that in every movie. That's my point. Like, in every horror movie, he's the guy who's going to die and have the bad thing happen to him.
Right.
He plays it so well. But again, Justin, we love you on this podcast.
Absolutely.
You're welcome anytime you want to join. Just call me up, 867-5309. You know how to reach me. Yeah, just DM us on Instagram. I got it. I'll, Justin Long. You have an open invitation for if you want to be on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good recommendation.
Good. It sounds very much like I did not give you a good recommendation.
No, so it is not a good movie.
Okay.
But like I said, it is what it is. Like, I could totally see you being scared out of your your little Zach Big Boy pants. But
yeah.
But now, if you watch it again, I think you'll pick up on the goofiness because plus you're desensitized now, which is a good
of course I'm completely desensitized now. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you a movie to watch by I believe, yes, the same director as Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, and it's called Little Evil.
Little Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Okay.
It's a comedy horror, so I think you'll enjoy.
Yeah. Samantha is a dream. Lucas is his nightmare. Great.
The woman, Gary, who has married Samantha, the woman of his dreams, discovers that her 6-year-old son may be the Antichrist.
That's fantastic. Okay. Yeah. I also need to watch. I need to watch that cottage movie that you watched. What was it called? Cottage Country.
Cottage Country.
Yeah,
Right.
I need to watch. I need to watch that too. Clearly, I'm gonna have some. I'm gonna have some movies to watch as soon as I read your review on Letterboxd for that movie about it being the spiritual like brother
Successor.
or whatever to for Tucker and Dale. I was like, okay, I'm in on that completely ridiculous movie. Okay, Little Evil is my movie.
Yeah, the Cottage Country one is it's horror adjacent. It's pretty. I would say it's almost a horror movie, if not a horror movie. So go ahead and wait if you want to watch that too. Having it not assigned to you, I would love to talk about that too.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have. I mean, like I said, this Saturday I'm gonna go see Immaculate and Ghostbusters, and now that's the aspiration.
Sure.
That's why I said I'm gonna go do a very young person kind of thing. I may be like, I'm good. I may not make it to Late Night with the Devil, or I may just go and just call in an audible and just be like, I'm gonna go see it all because the first movie starts at like 10:15 or 10:25.
Oh wow.
And I don't know how gassed I'm gonna be by I may just shoot Saturday in the butt immediately. Like,
Well, I mean,
get home at 8 o'clock and crash. You know what
plan
I mean?
ahead. I mean, grab some Depends.
Yeah. That's what I need. That's what I'm more talking about a nap in my car in the parking lot of a theater, and hope that my car doesn't get towed and a police officer show up because I'm a weird dude sleeping in his car in a parking lot.
And we have a theater here that has the XD that has the like you can order food from the restaurant to your chair.
Yeah. The second theater that I'm going to go, the theater I'm going to see Ghostbusters and Late Night with the Devil is a Cinemark movie bistro.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it is the same. That's the same kind of thing. You can order on the app and then have, a servant bring it to you. Ha ha.
The only problem is I discovered we did it last time, but it's really hard to eat in the pitch black dark.
Yeah, why would you? I don't understand why you'd be like, oh my gosh, you know what this movie needs right now? A freaking hot dog.
Right.
And how am I eating a hot dog in the dark?
Or a hamburger with a Caesar side salad.
Yeah.
I don't know why I ordered that. I did, but I did.
Yeah. Now some of these theaters do have alcohol in them, and like there was one theater that we have that has like a Jack and Coke slushy, and I was like, alcohol is going to make me tired. I don't want to be in a dark theater with the relaxing chairs that sipping on a Jack and Coke slushy and falling asleep. I want to watch this.
Bad idea.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I'm going to give you the year. The year is 2020. Nothing bad happened that year.
No, not at all.
That we can ever remember. Nobody remembers the year 2020, let alone anything bad happening that year.
Correct.
And so, but there emerged this movie that made conspiracy theorists Twitter page.
Okay.
So grab your tinfoil hat, Steve, and I want you to watch the 2020 movie called The Hunt.
The Hunt.
The Hunt. Yes. This movie is fantastic. It's on your want to watch list on Letterboxd.
Okay.
And I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie The Hunt.
Interesting.
And try to go in as blind as you possibly can to this movie. Don't watch the trailer. Don't read the little thing. Try to go in as blind because I want to get full Steve's reaction to, again, the year is 2020. Nothing bad happened that year.
Nothing bad happened. Okay.
Why? Because why would anything bad happen any year? Can you name one thing that happened in 2020? Just one.
Nothing's springing to mind.
That's my point. It was a perfect year. We rarely have those. It's a perfect year. So, yeah. Anyway, I went too deep and too heavy in the nothing bad happened in 2020 joke. So, anyway.
Oh well. Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, this has been fun. I before we head out, I want to give I'm going to give 2 shout outs.
Please.
I want to give 2 shout outs to some people on Instagram. Number 1, at Acres_films on Instagram. We'll put all these in the show notes. They follow us on Instagram. We were having some conversation. They made a short film called the challenge, and it's on YouTube. Steve, I'll send you their IG so people can follow them, and also I'll send you the YouTube link for the movie the short film, The Challenge. I watched it. It's actually pretty decent of a short film.
All right.
And the second shout out is to at Womp Stomp Films, WOMPSTOMP Films.
Okay.
They have a really good Friday the 13th fan film called Never Hike Alone. I think they literally just came out with a sequel to that, Never Hike Alone 2. That actually stars the guy who played in one of the Friday the 13th films. He reprises his role from the film.
Really?
In Never Hike Alone 2. And those films, I think there's Never Hike Alone, there's Never Hike Alone in the Snow, I think, and then there's Never Hike Alone 2. There might be some more. I think they do a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film called like Dylan's Nightmare or Dylan's New Nightmare or something like that. They're all really great. And so at Acres_films and at Womp Stomp Films on Instagram and on YouTube, check those guys out. Watch their little fan films, and don't forget, you can call us, leave us a voicemail, 216-202-5495, and write us a voicemail at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. So, yeah. Well, it's been fun, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you only 3-starred my movie, and I 5-starred your movie, and our listeners are keeping tally. That's all I know. Justin Long, you're on my team. That's all I know. You're on my team, dude. I know you're listening. I love you, dude. I love you. Steve has a very different opinion about all of your movies, but Steve's probably going to cut all this out of the podcast. So I'm just talking to nobody at this point.
Never mind.
See, he's just stuttering and stammering over his words. He don't even know what to say. He don't even know.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. All right, listeners. That's a wrap for another episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. Thanks for joining us.
And we'd love for you to become part of the conversation. Just drop us a voicemail at 1-216-202-5495 or email us at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. And keep up with the latest by following us on Instagram. That handle is at horrorsyetonunseenpod. We'd also appreciate it if you like and review our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.